When
the bourbon still goes in the same
It was
direction.
a ton of fun.
Yeah.
It was a
amazing.
ton of fun. It was a ton of fun. I had a really good time.
I'm the only one that got to pet a horse.
Yeah.
For the record.
I think I'm the only one who won money.
Well, that's
you
true.
might be right. Yeah.
That's true.
No, I think you won some money,
We won,
didn't you, Dick?
we won like, not as much as you. I mean, you won a shitload of money. That's a lot of
Good
money.
Lord. I mean, I'm surprised you didn't fly back on a private
That's a different
jet
tax
after that.
bracket money for winnings, which is taxed at a much higher rate.
I see the car in the driveway.
I'm surprised you're still my friends.
He wouldn't have to buy a $130 bottle of double rye.
Please.
Hey,
you guys,
Oh, sorry,
the
you
$130.
guys
last
bought your
bottle.
plenty of bourbon. Trust me. I recall $120 bottle.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Bourbon Boys, the podcast where we're just going to keep talking about our bourbon tour, the Urban Bourbon Tour of Louisville. This is episode 28, part 5.
Fortunately for you guys, the last sank is
This
the
is
last.
the last one. Sank it with this one. So far we've talked about Rabbithole. We talked about Old Forester, day 1. Day 2 started with Peerless before breakfast. Well, around breakfast, before lunch, 6 ounces of bourbon. Solid start to a day. Followed by a dreary, cold, historical walk through Stitzel-Weller. Now we're going to end our distillery tour. We were able to push 5 through in 2 days. It's a solid effort.
That was strong.
Yeah. A couple others were
Julie,
close.
our cruise director, was on it.
On it. This one was Evan Williams Experience. So this is right in the heart of the city. DSP, as we mentioned before, Distilled Spirit Plant, Kentucky, number one. The very first government-issued license to be a licensed, taxed distillery is Evan Williams.
Which is kind of sad.
But Evan was a good-looking man.
He was a good-looking man.
Did you see him?
Some people even question the existence of Evan Williams.
This is true. According to the
history, the timing of Evan's
Bourbon
arrival in Kentucky and the credit he's given for distilling bourbon don't always match up, according to some folks.
Yep.
Well, I think dues are Evan Williams.
No, I appreciate that.
He's got the coiffa hair. He's got
definitely the hat.
And
The challenge
he can do
with
anything.
that, though, the challenge
He
with
can do
that, though,
anything.
is Dew is definitely a craft distiller.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, but he was a craft distiller when he started, so let's go back to
that's a
when
good
it
point.
started.
That's a good
In the
point.
video,
Right? He was like, I can make anything work. That's how Evan Williams was, and that's how Dew is.
When you need like
let's
2
do
hours
it.
of sleep a night, I guess you can conquer the world.
Exactly.
That's all I need.
So
That's all I'm
Hey,
getting.
and
Right?
shout out to, I believe the young lady's name was Diane, who hosted
Yes.
us, who welcomed us there.
I was going to say,
She was cool.
she was awesome.
on it.
She was
Yeah.
awesome.
She was on it.
She was
She
awesome.
gave us
Fantastic personality.
the secret tip to go downstairs and check out the
I think
speakeasy.
she was trying to get us out of the lobby.
Probably.
I think so, yeah.
That's it. I didn't think of it that way.
That's probably what it was.
We were a large raucous group.
That's right.
So Evan Williams it's in the heart of the city. It is definitely it's not a production
At all.
space.
No.
Right. So nothing's going on there, which is fine. It's an original. It's one of the oldest.
If that's the best you can do.
Yeah, that's fine. Which is fine. But this one was, I would say, for this tour, this is an hour-long tour, followed by tasting. We definitely got a walkthrough of history. It is an interactive 2.5D, experience for someone who's like aware of.
Bob was a hat.
It's called 2.5D when you have video when you have video and scenic. It's 2.5D.
I was waiting for the fiberglass alligator to come out of the marsh.
No, exactly. I
Jungle
did stand on the
Cruise.
sand when I watched the video.
We did have a good.
I was like there.
Listen,
Bob-
I think it was a great tour.
Bob the tour guide was great. I mean,
Bob was
super
great.
knowledgeable, very personable, very friendly,
yeah,
happy to answer any
absolutely.
questions.
Yeah.
That's the
And
good news.
He had jokes too.
He
had
was good.
jokes.
He
Bob
had
did have
good
jokes.
jokes.
He did. A few too many, but
Now, I would say we started this on the wrong end. Now, for us, we've already done tours. We've done distillery tours. This wasn't my favorite.
no.
Mostly because it was, and I know we're not trying to be snobs, this was super entry level. I heard about bourbon. I think I've had it before. I got an hour to kill. Tell me about how it works.
Which fits with their brand, because I'm the same way. It's like, I'm just like, why did they land here?
Yeah.
And I guess if when I tried to put it in the scale of, again, you're looking across Whiskey Row and all that and all the bourbons and all that. It's like Evan Williams is the most mass produced, I would guess. I don't know about volumes or whatever, but I mean that's the middle. But I'm talking about
there
in this arena. What you're weighing out is this this middle shelf. It's volume,
middle to low,
consistent, and it's really not that great.
I've never liked it.
So the whole idea here is like, what's our? You can't claim high quality.
You claim history.
You claim history.
Yep.
And that's really about it. So to me, it's like I could.
That's in their brief.
Why that's how they ended there.
Yeah, they put a stake in the ground.
Yep. They said we're number one. So suck it.
Yep.
So suck it.
So suck it. But Bob was great. Diane was great. Super friendly group. In the city, they spent a lot of money on the display.
They did. Here's what I will say. So I was there.
Yeah, you went twice.
I was there a long time ago, and Evan Williams, I think, was literally one of the only ones on Main Street.
Met Evan.
No, I didn't meet Evan, but but no, the distillery was there, or the tour was there, and nobody else was there. So I have to give Evan Williams a little credit in that they were the first to kind of put themselves on Main Street.
DSP one.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah. No, I think it's and they're doing great. They're still going along.
I agree, though. If the Urban Bourbon, if you're in that area, like I said, it's a good.
Did you just say Urban Bourbon?
Urban Bourbon Trail.
The Urban Bourbon Trail. Did you not
there?
listen to the last?
I don't listen to
episodes?
anything. I don't.
Hey, Kurt,
I'm literally right here.
I'm in this moment the only person not picking on you.
But the whole thing is like when you're there again. If you kind of dig into it, Bourbon Empire is a great book. If anybody wants to read that, it talks about the history of America essentially through the lens of how bourbon plays in. But it talks a lot about how
great Christmas gift,
very good Christmas gift.
Yes,
At that point in history, that was a bourbon epicenter along the Ohio River. And that's really what Evan Williams kind of plays into. The whole notion is like people stopped there because there was falls in the river. So if you were traveling downriver, either you lost your boat or you parked. And they parked and they started building out, and bourbon developed around that. So again, to your point, Derek, start there. You're not going to learn a ton about bourbon production or tasting. Are you going to dispute that?
It was like the Americana.
I'm not going to dispute, but it was a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I felt like I was in like the Milwaukee Public Museum because it was like diorama world.
Like you could have walked up to a display and pushed a button, and there would have been a scent of bourbon pushed in your face.
Yeah.
I thought you were going somewhere because there's a snake actually in the Milwaukee Public Museum where if you know where the button is, the snake will rattle.
Okay.
Interesting.
For Tracy.
For Tracy,
when you go to the museum,
our one listener,
Sean's sister,
Sean's sister,
and I mean, so I think the tour was pretty simple, pretty elementary. Good place to start. Tough place for us to end. We had some folks that were new traveling with us. That would have been a better place to start.
Yeah.
Than ending because it was just
skip it.
Or skip it. Yeah. And I think
if you're knowledgeable, I would skip it.
Yes.
I think that I will give them some credit. Like where, if you guys remember, where they had like all the visuals that lit up as the video was playing, I thought that was actually super helpful. So for somebody who's not been informed about bourbon making, then I thought that was actually pretty good.
Yeah. But the people, super friendly, super hospitable.
No, super great.
If you've ever tasted Buffalo Trace, skip this one. Right?
Say more about that.
Or bourbon in general.
I'm not sure I see the connection.
No, I guess I feel like this is it's a lower shelf.
Yeah, it's bourbon and
Not
Coke.
a lot of
It's bourbon and Coke.
It's bourbon and Coke. Yeah.
Yep.
They might be offended by that. But
really nice people. I walked out of that gift shop with nothing. I didn't need any Evan Williams, and if I need it, ABC has it.
I
all
did
day
buy
long.
a hat.
So in giving them credit, right?
Yep.
You did buy a hat, and actually it looks pretty good on your head.
Wow, another compliment from Dave tonight.
But if we went back and had the opportunity to go to the speakeasy and do tastings, maybe the experience
Perhaps.
would have been different.
Perhaps.
Because
I think that's
that
fair.
room actually was really cool.
That was our intent.
but
Yeah.
to
I know.
me
I
that
hear
at
you.
this point it's about the product, and it's not that it's a bad product. I'm just not a fan.
Yeah.
So let's hear a little bit from what Bob. We get some snippets from Bob's tour.
Okay,
cool.
We'll come back to the tasting room.
Excellent.
And break.
My name's Bob. I'm your bourbon host.
Hi, Bob.
Now, here's the how you doing? I'm not a tour guide. You guys know, of course, the difference between a bourbon host and a tour guide, right? No. It means I drink with you. We're all in the right place. Yeah, and I want you to imagine how that job interview went. I didn't even ask if we got paid. Can I start now? You know, anyway, it's been great. Thank you for coming, man. You're going to learn a little history here. We do that. It's fun. We're going to teach you how to make bourbon. If you don't already know how to do that, you will certainly know how. Now, that might be illegal where you live, but that's not my problem. That's your problem. Also, up front, I got to tell you about my company real quick. We're Evan Williams. You might have seen the Evan Williams Black Label. It's the second largest selling bourbon in the world. We're real proud of that. But it's part of Heaven Hill. That's our parent company. And Heaven Hill, of course, is Kentucky owned, Kentucky operated, and it's also family. It's family owned and family operated. We're real proud of that. We actually take it down to 139 proof here. That's what we do. It gives us the heart of the run and the flavor we want. But we got to add water to it. We put it in the barrel because next rule is it's got to go in the barrel at 125 proof or less. We put it in at 125 proof. Next rule for bourbon, can't be too weak when you bottle it. It's got to be at least 80 proof going in the bottle. You can't call it bourbon. Now, there's two more real important rules. Bourbon's got to be made in the United States. It is the distinctive spirit of the USA. Now, you do not have to, and you never did have to make it in Kentucky. But you do have to make it in Kentucky if you want rule actually is really important. Bourbon's got to be stored in one of these charred white oak barrels. That's where it gets 100% of its color, 60 to 70% of its flavor, character, and aroma. These barrels only use once. We use a 45-second flame, number 3 char for Evan Williams. If you do that, you put the liquor in with a little water, and then it's all about the weather. We have hot summers in Kentucky, we have cold winters, and the rest of the year, the weather just kind of fluctuates quite a bit, and that's all good for aging bourbon. Makes the barrel expand and contract, and it's constantly squeezing the liquid through the char to that red layer underneath the char. And I sort of mentioned water. You do need to put a little water in the barrel. We don't do that to make it weaker. Water's going to get you some of those sweet flavors you want, the caramels and the honeys. Alcohol is going to bring out more of the spicy, nutty, oak, and smoky flavor. Each one does its own thing. We got a lot of barrels. Evan Williams and Heaven Hill now has 1.9 million barrels of bourbon aging. 60 warehouses full and building more every day. Each warehouse has got 7 floors, and each floor's got 3 levels, open rick like this. So that's 21 levels of barrels from top. A lot happens in the barrel. You have Angel Share. Anybody heard of that? Yeah, of course. You lose some. First year, you're going to lose at least 3 to 6%, and there's nothing you can do about it. It will soak in the wood a little bit and evaporate a little bit. Each year after that, you're going to lose at least another 2 to 3% to evaporate bourbon as it evaporates. Isn't that horrible? You know what's worse? We pass that right on to you. It's true, and I'm sorry. There are 7 taxes that I know about on bourbon in Kentucky. So far, I figure there's about 17 kinds of taxes that might be on your bourbon in the U.S., depending on where you live and where you bought it. The one we complain about all the time is the Kentucky tax. There's a 13 cents per proof per annum per gallon tax on bourbon as it sits in a Kentucky warehouse aging and evaporating away. Now, for my company, all that bourbon we got, that's about $1.6 million a year. That just on that one tax alone. It's one of the reasons older bourbon costs more. Not only has it been sitting there aging, evaporating away, but it's been taxed the whole time. The next one, that was a large batch. The next one is the opposite of a large batch. This one is single barrel. And Williams single barrel. Now, this is 1 barrel. That's on the back here. Got a little handwritten birth certificate. It tells you how old it is. It went in the barrel in April of 13, and it was bottled in July of 21. So it's a little over 8 years. And it is barrel 887 right there on the back. So if you're drinking it, you like it, you turn the bottle around, oh look, barrel 887, that's good, man. Let's go back to the liquor store real quick and see if we get another bottle that came out of barrel 887. Well, good luck. There's only 190, about 200 bottles, that's it. There's this 86.6 proof, it's about 8 years old, that's all there is. Chances are you're going to get a different barrel number, and if you do, it could taste different. That's the way single barrels work. We're not shooting for consistency on the single barrels, we're shooting for good. The object here is to try to get you some of the very best barrels. And we do that by getting it from the sweet spot, right in the middle of the warehouse. Center cut. Fifth floor, not by the windows, they're right in the back area in there. They look for them about 4 years in, they start tasting them and marking the ones they like. By 8 years or so, when they're ready, not time, but when they're ready, they end up in the bottle for you. So go ahead and try that single barrel. Nose it, see if you can tell the difference. This 86.6, so it's just a little bit stronger. Now, all these bottles came from the very top of one warehouse. We've been talking about the bottom and the middle rows. Top row, it ages differently up there. It evaporates away quickly. 12 years is a long time on the top. It gets a little thicker, syrupy, picks up sweet and intense flavors. And I asked them, did you put that up there for 12 years on purpose? And of course they said they did. I don't think so. I think it was hot up there, nobody wanted to go up and check. And finally they tasted it and go, okay, get this down now. This is amazing. So this went up there at 125 proof. It got up to about 130 or so. They brought it down and it was evaporating away pretty good, but it's sweet and buttery.
What percentage of that barrel do you think was Angel Share? Did they get a full half barrel out of it?
I imagine they got about 35%.
Wow.
Yeah, up high. Yeah, that's about all they got. Yeah, the rest is Angel Share. Yeah, 12. This was 12. Also, Boulder, if you say 12, that was the youngest drop is 12.
Yeah.
There were 12, 13, 14, even some 15-year barrels. So now here's the thing. The front of your tongue is where you taste sweet. When the front of your tongue is wet, that's where sweet comes in. So if you hold it on the front of your tongue, you get that butterscotch candy up front, right? But then after you swallow, there's a lot more coming. This is really a long finish. It goes to the middle of your tongue, starts to tickle. Besides, the heat receptors that you're getting, hot cinnamon or something, I don't know what all's going on. It might be the whole recipe for Cincinnati chili. I don't know. Spices keep coming. You suck on your tongue, you get more flavor. You got a bourbon lozenge in your mouth, your tongue. That's a long finish. And it's just really good.
I think what we've learned is we always need to start with the highest proof in our tastings, right? And we also need to start with the highest volume in our tours.
Start with the highest proof or finish with the highest proof?
I thought that starting was burning your mouth out and you couldn't taste anything after.
I thought we finished with that.
But I thought the last time we did a tasting, we ended with the highest proof.
I don't know. I wasn't there.
You were at this table.
I thought we hit the higher proof early on.
We came out too hot.
So maybe it was the other way.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the other way.
We want to end
Okay. All right.
Just like Old Forester.
I'm just trying to
to
capture the learning, the postmortem.
I appreciate you listening to this podcast.
I listen all the time.
All right, so now we're in the tasting room. It was very vintage, like 70s lounge,
Very much.
very kitschy.
Yeah.
It was fine, but I don't know. Would you pour 4 of them?
How did we get to the 70s?
The look?
The vintage,
but
the look of the 70s.
Why
but
Evan Williams
how
in the
did we
70s?
get to the 70s?
I don't know.
There was no. We went from
No.
Whiskey Row to Mad Men.
Yeah,
That's what it felt like, though.
yeah, it was very 60s,
Oh, it was
70s lounge.
just totally 60s, 70s.
Well, it was
Mad
Yeah.
Men.
set up interesting. Most of the, I'm trying to think if it was most. I think it was most. It's fair to say. Most of them were like a kitchen table set up, or at least intimate.
Yeah.
The group was together. This was very much a long
Belly up to the bar.
Kidney
and
shake.
then,
like you weren't looking across from anyone. In fact, you were back to back with people.
Yeah.
tables behind, which again, it's not bad from a overflow perspective, but
Yeah.
there was no intended interaction between the guests.
No.
This
Correct.
was about
No.
listen to Bob.
Yeah.
Make some bourbon and Coke.
And we tried. I think I lost track at that point. 4.
God.
3 or 4. I think it was.
We had
And I don't
4.
even know what we tasted.
I don't either. We had
The only,
4.
the only thing I remember is the last one was the
Unremarkable.
12-year, and that was surprisingly good. The first 3 I thought
It was-
tasted exactly the
yeah,
same.
I agree.
Just from a
I agree.
yeah,
Would you be surprised to learn that we tasted 5?
I would be surprised. Is that in case that because we got a nugget thing there too, like a chocolate nugget thing? Right?
Oh no, it was 4. Sorry.
I was too busy talking to my buddy,
Which I ate.
my buddy Joe, from North Carolina.
Dropping whistle out of Cary
4.
area.
Yeah, we had a good chat. So
Was this the field guy that he was referencing, or is it different?
no, Joe was the one that turned us on to the field guide.
That's what I'm saying. Was it the same one?
Yeah,
Okay.
and he had like passport stamps and dates and initials in his, so they were going through page by page.
That's
But
cool.
That was the best thing that came out of that tour, honestly.
Joe's very nice.
Yeah. So I think experience-wise, low on the end. Hospitality super high. Friendly to folks. Taste, I'm not a fan. I didn't enjoy any of them.
So the 12-year.
I would agree.
I think Jay popped for a bottle.
He did.
Did he? Okay.
So
We still love Jay, but
yeah.
no, but if I was going to buy anything there, I would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Cool.
Now, all on the way, we had some good food too.
I was going to ask if we were talking about.
So following Old Forester, we stopped at Doc's.
Doc's
Right next door. Doc's Southern Barbecue.
bourbon menu
I
for
forgot
days.
about that.
Highly recommend.
I totally forgot about
Highly
that.
recommend Doc.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you had
That was
about 8
really
ounces
good.
of bourbon at that point.
Yep. So that was a winner. So that was dinner.
Yep.
Thursday night.
Thursday night.
Chicken dinner. Then we went to Muscle and Burger.
Muscle and Burger for lunch after Peerless.
That was amazing.
Forrest at Weller.
That was
Great
good.
service.
Oh, yeah.
The mac and cheese thing that Sarah got looked incredible.
It looked incredible. Yeah.
The
Very
fish,
good.
The
Yep.
fish seafood sliders.
Great
Yep,
burgers.
yep.
So, by the way, little known fact, Mike, shout out to Mike of Lux Car Service. Mike said that if Louisville has some of the freshest seafood in the country
Did not know that.
because the UPS hub
It's the first
that
stop.
connects coasts to anything stops there.
Yeah. Well,
So
we
you
know
may
that.
wonder
We
why.
know that because of all those planes coming in right over the house that we
over
were
the house.
staying in.
Yes.
Yeah. So speaking of the house,
Yeah.
we talked about Old Forester earlier.
Yes.
There's a connection between our house that we stayed in
There is.
and Old Forester.
Yeah.
There is.
Two brothers, both with the last name of Brown.
Yep.
One had 8 kids and was all about the volume.
Do you remember the name?
What are you shaking your
John,
head?
was it John and George?
Well, George Calvin was
Okay.
one,
Oh,
and the other one was JTS Brown.
Yeah.
The one that ended
Just
up having
too short
the
brown.
just too short brown. The one that had the 8
That's me.
kids.
Just too short, Brown.
Good Lord, guys, I'm trying to have a podcast.
Shut up, Dave. Just keep going.
The first Mr. Brown had 8 kids, was all about volume, didn't care quite as much about consistency, right? And so
With his kids?
he went and good Lord, this is what happens when we get to the last one. I know, keep going, Dave. So, anyways, the only thing left over from that Brown is the 11,000 square foot house that we stayed in, which was really pretty cool.
It was
pretty awesome.
Totally awesome.
And occasionally you can find on the very bottom of the shelf, matter of fact, it may be -1 shelf, JTS Brown bourbon.
Oh, did not know that.
The other brother ended up developing Old Forester.
Brown
Yep.
Foreman.
Yep.
That's
The
cool.
Brown and Brown Foreman.
That's cool.
And because his decision was he wanted to go after consistency and quality.
Yep.
I do remember
So-
that.
So if you're on VRBO, check out Big Shot Bourbon Mansion on West Ormsby, 414 West Ormsby Ave in Louisville, Kentucky.
Great house.
Parking out back. Fun place, great place to just hang out.
Planes flow live.
Yeah, we're
Planes
not too
fly
far.
low.
We're not too far from the airport.
flow
from,
lie.
UPS, as planes do fly.
You're a fart smeller, you
and
know that,
then,
Dave.
so back to restaurants after
Proof.
Evan Williams. You went to Flamingo.
Yeah, the
and got
Flamingo.
like $5
Old fashions.
Old fashions. It's in
Yeah.
the back of the like ATG Sandwich Emporium.
Yep.
So after hours, they switch it out, and you have to go in. It looks like there's nobody working the sandwich shop. There's a neon sign at the back that says open and an arrow pointing
Flamingo.
down.
Love it.
So do not hesitate. Hit the Flamingo.
That's awesome.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's awesome.
And they went to Proof, which was in 21C, which is a art museum / hotel.
Hotel.
Yep.
Super swanky and
Yep.
and unusual.
Yeah,
for
sure.
sure.
It was very cool.
Real
What
cool
were the
vibe.
drinks we got there? Somebody asked me. I could not remember the name of those bourbon drinks. It's like a long name, like something.
It started with
It
an
was-
S. It started with an S.
Oh,
But it was like a paper plane, but not.
Yeah,
Yes.
but not.
And it had Drambuie in it.
it had Drambuie. Yeah, that's right. A little bit of licorice.
Yep.
Obviously,
like the
by
usual
that,
suspect or something like that.
by that point of the day, we had a lot of
Yeah.
ounces of
We'll
bourbon.
put it in the show notes.
We were not driving.
No. We had a car service which is highly recommended. Call Mike.
Mike's
We can drop his number in the show notes. Mike was the guy for sure.
Yeah, he was good.
Very knowledgeable about the city. We felt safe. Super hospitable.
Yep.
And then Saturday went to the tracks. We bet
Yeah.
the ponies, and David pet a pony.
I did.
He did.
Thank
He
goodness.
pet a pony.
That sounds all wrong right there.
Kurt won a lot of money.
I didn't win a lot of money.
Kurt's buying for that.
Well, if anyone is listening on the IRS side, Kurt won a
ton of money.
So much money.
Trying to hide some of it.
He should probably be.
I mean, I don't want to drop a dime on the guy, but
Yeah, right. Exactly.
won a lot of money.
That's it.
And we drank bourbon all day for the third day in a row.
Spires, we did.
Spires.
Old fashions.
Had a
We did
julep.
juleps. We did straight pours.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was a good day.
It was a
It was a
great
great
really good
day.
day.
That was a fun day.
I do wish we brought cigars because it turns out you could smoke at the track. There's a guy
was so-
selling cigars.
I was like totally had a Ziploc full of cigars
Yeah.
in my briefcase.
I
And
had
for some reason I took
a
them
couple
out.
back of the house. But I was like, nah, they're not going to let us smoke there.
Yeah.
So, Churchill Downs, great day. It was mid 30s, high 30s,
Chilly, yeah.
and
It's chilly.
raw. But the horses ran, and we were inside and outside. Good place to be. It is the cathedral.
Yep.
Different view than what you see on TV for sure.
Although Annie's view of Churchill versus Keeneland was quite interesting. She's like, "You ready for the state fair?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "As a matter of fact, we do love some funnel
That
cakes.
is-
So
that
let's
is-
go,
there
Annie."
you go.
Find
No.
any funnel cakes.
So no spectators was the name of the drink that we
No
had.
spectators.
That's right.
Good job.
So that's interesting
Google
that she
trucks.
said that because looking back on it, one was definitely country club and one was definitely
Country Fair.
country fair. All right, so we ready to close this thing out?
Yeah. Last call.
Yeah.
All right,
Dave.
you ready?
Let's
You
do
ready?
it.
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite distillery, favorite tour guide, favorite bourbon. Kurt, go.
Favorite distillery, I'm gonna say on what terms?
Yours.
I'm gonna say Peerless. I'm gonna say Corky, and I'm gonna say the Double Oak Peerless Rye.
Corky wasn't a tour
Okay,
guide. but-
Alex.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tune.
All right. How can we not be redundant here?
Yeah, I know. That's the challenge.
It's tricky.
Sorry.
Glad I went
tricky.
first.
So,
Yeah.
favorite distillery? I'll go just to change it up. I mean, Peerless.
Yep.
From where we are on the journey, this is great. I'm going to go with Old Forester though. Again, I liked the kind of the end-to-end view of things.
Yep.
I like the production levels of kind of making sure it was clear, but also really close to the simulating, if not being actual production.
Right.
So I'm going to go with that. From the tour guide, I'm going to stay with Old Forester. I thought Barb did a phenomenal
Yeah.
job. Again, I don't think we threw anything at her. Not that we were trying to confuse her, but you
She
know,
knew her stuff.
She knew her stuff,
Yeah.
and she was like super. Like, what else you got? Any other questions? Let me help you figure this out. So I'll stay with Barb from Old Forester.
Okay.
Favorite bourbon? I'm going to go with the Peerless Small Batch. The last single barrel we did, kind of the bonus tasting, was really good. I'm going to stick with the small batch though, because I still pick that over either of those.
Good. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Dude.
I'm going to go favorite distillery, Rabbithole. Really like the vibe on that one.
Yep.
Wasn't there?
That's okay. We got to have someplace where you haven't been.
You can't be everywhere we have, okay?
I know. I'm
right.
feeling it.
All right, so Rabbit Hole.
So I got Rabbit Hole. I got Barb from Old Forester.
There you go.
I think she was great. I think Miss Kentucky was adorable. Maybe under different conditions where she was warmer. May have been a little bit different. But my favorite was Peerless Single Barrel Toffee. Yeah, that's what I'm going with.
Okay.
Yep. Grant?
So favorite distillery. I've got it again. This is like a theme, and I hate it, but Peerless. Just love the authenticity of it. Love the hospitality. Again, you walk in, and it's like you just want to plop down in the leather chairs, hang out with Jerry, and Rye's.
sure.
Rye's like crawling around stuff, and
Yep.
then obviously, Corky and the atmosphere that he's established there is fantastic.
Yep. Good vibe.
Best tour guide, I think Mason just blew me away. That guy,
Yeah.
Again, his third solo tour.
Who's Mason?
He was the Rabbit Hole.
Rabbit
tour
Hole,
guide.
yeah.
That's right. We weren't there.
But just super knowledgeable and just really, really nice and understood his stuff. I'm with you, Derek, on the toffee, the Peerless Toffee
Yeah,
single
that's pretty
barrel.
yummy.
Really, really good stuff. So,
Love it.
That's it.
Love it. So, gents, we did it. We got Kurt on a bourbon tour.
Yeah.
The Urban Bourbon Tour.
Amen. Urban Bourbon Tour.
We've been saying that
That's
for
fine.
5
I'm
episodes.
with you. I'm with you. Go.
But we're going to do it,
tour.
and we're going to do it again.
We are.
We are.
Soon.
Yep.
Soon.
Next
So-
one we're going to plan is the Bardstown, middle of the state.
We're going
to hit that.
We're going to crush out some craft distilleries. Hopefully, get back
Yeah, for
back
sure.
up to Louisville.
We are going back to
We got
Louisville.
a lot to cover.
So,
Yep.
So, all right, guys.
All right,
Gentlemen,
guys.
thanks for a great weekend.
Bourbon on.
Bourbon
Good
on.
time all around. Bourbon on.